We'll get started. I just want to start off by really starting with some people that I'm proud of and I'm thankful for, and that starts with leadership with um, George and Kevin for their support, um, not only just on a daily basis, but in terms of resources and priorities, making sure that our football team and our players are first, and that has a huge impact on how we did this year and how we move forward. I want to thank Ben um, for his dedication to this job. It didn't feel. He talks about being a first-time coach. It didn't feel that way at all. His ability to take, like you said, the words off the wall and push that to his players and see them respond was incredible. Even in some of the feedback we got, these guys were just doubling down on his message. When it got to the locker room, there was no hesitation. There was no gray area. They pushed forward because they believed in what he was saying and what he needed from them, which was incredible. I want to thank our players for putting it on the line. Their hard work and dedication, selflessness, being great teammates to each other um, was incredible to see their buy-in. Again, that's the reason why we do what we do, is putting our players in a position to be successful, and seeing them do their part was excellent. Especially that leadership group was awesome. Want to thank our coaches. Ben challenged them. We knew with an early bye week that development from our depth to our practice squad was going to be really important, and they did that. I saw a lot of players level up throughout the season. If that was from rookies or guys that were maybe not even on the roster when we started, they were prepared and ready to go. And really specifically DA and his ability and his defensive staff's ability to do that. There's a lot of challenges, guys up and down, and anyone that came in there was ready to go to compete and help us win football games. He did an incredible job putting that group together. Our support staff, selflessness, that's the word that comes to my mind, and passion in terms of, again, putting the players first, making sure they're in the best position, taking care of their bodies, nutrition, staying strong. We had a number of guys do some great things in terms of maintaining their strength from the first week to the very end, which is critical for us to have success on the back end of the season. Our front office, just in terms of the evaluation process, bringing in guys that can help impact our team. You look at that all pro staff, you got a draft pick, you got a guy you traded for, and someone that you acquired in free agency. And there's a lot of credit to that group. I got to give Ian and Jeff a shout out. Even through this, when you win playoff games and you push back, the calendar gets shrunk on you. And those guys are up there running free agent meetings right now, keeping this thing moving forward, because we know the challenges that we have continue to build this roster. Um, and then I want to thank our fans. As Coach said, I'll never forget those playoff games, the games at the end of the season. They brought it. I had never seen Soldier Field like that before. I can't wait to get back to that point. I had family members flying in O'Hare texting me saying, I've never seen anything like this in terms of the amount of pride that our fans had wearing their Bears gear, pumped up about the upcoming game. We felt that, and that's part of a job that we don't talk about a lot. Is just inspiring a fan base, inspiring the community, bringing that joy and that fun to a community because of the football team and how they're doing. Coach hit it. We didn't reach what we wanted, the goals that we wanted to hit, and that's to be a championship caliber team. That'll never change. But as we've moved a couple of days past that, I am proud of the progress that we've made. And knowing that, we can't be complacent. We got to keep pushing forward. We both come from organizations that have stacked success back-to-back years, and we know the challenge that comes with having success and then trying to get back to that the following year. I can tell you right now, we're all excited for that challenge in terms of building this team back up, making the tweaks, continuing to tighten the screws on the process and the people that we need to continue to elevate for us to get back to where we were and then exceed that and win championships around here. I do think it's important to take a step back, to get fresh eyes, to try not to wait maybe the last 3 games heavier than everything else. So we'll do that, get back together, look at the roster. As Coach said, there's some challenges and some big decisions we got to make. But I'm excited for that. Usually that means you're in a good position and you're having success. And the more success you have, the more challenges and hard decisions you got to make, and those will be critical for us to sustain it. In terms of injuries, just some updates. Obviously, some long-term injuries because of them happening late in the season. Both Ozzy and Noah, they've had surgery and they've already kicked off their process. Guys that we expect in the offseason in some capacity, whether that's in the spring or the start of training camp. So Shamar is doing well. He's rehabbing. Dio, TJ, Smitty, Zay, Frazier, Karan, all those guys are progressing to be back this offseason. Some minor deal that happened in the last game, Jalen Johnson. It's just a minor thing, no surgery. He had a wrist. He'll be fine shortly. And then Jordan McFadden, credit to him and his toughness. Had an ankle injury. He's got to get that worked on. He finished the game, which was incredible. But he'll be back and ready to go at some point this offseason. So I'll open up to questions from there.
Ryan, with Ozzy, what is the timetable on his return, and how is that going to impact what you may or may not have to do to get a veteran option to fill in?
Yeah, that's a part of our job. Really unfortunate because I thought he was coming along. I was looking forward to him getting this offseason. I don't have a specific timetable. I'm sure it'll be somewhere, deep into next year for the injury. So had a good conversation with him. He knows this is part of his journey he's going to have to overcome. I got a lot of faith in him and our staff to get him back ready to go whenever that is. But specific timetables, I don't have that right now.
Ryan, with Caleb specifically, how much of what you saw this year was something that you saw him do in college? And did he do anything that went beyond your expectations or that leveled up in a way that surprised you?
Yeah, when you watched his college tape, you knew that some of those wild throws were part of his game. I would say the one thing that stands out that I was happy to see come back was just his pocket presence, his ability to escape. I think that's a rare trait that he has. You saw that come alive. But with that said, and Ben hit it, there's still a lot of work to be done. But I think it gets you excited about what he can become as long as he continues on the path that he was on before.
You mentioned the hard decisions that you have to make, and you got two safeties on Brisker and Kevin Byard. I mean, what are your initial thoughts about the potential of bringing both of those guys back, or is that unrealistic?
Yeah, like I said, we're going to take a step back and kind of evaluate that and put that puzzle together. It's actually 4 safeties that are not under contract for next year, so I got a lot of faith in our process that we'll do that. I think Kevin's a special player. I have no problem saying that's a player that we would like to have back. But again, when you add the other safeties into that mix and all the other decisions we have across the roster, cap restraints, things like that, it'll be a challenge. But that's part of what we do.
Right. Now, how do you reflect on Ben's work in developing players and establishing this culture and taking this thing the way he did in year one?
It was incredible. I loved watching him. I asked him the other day, I'm like, just his messaging to the team, it moves the team, and they're locked in, and they listen, and they take it back to the locker room and to the field, and the buy-in was incredible. I'll go back to training camp. He needed a physical day in the dog days of camp, and that was a really cool opportunity to see those guys buy into what he was saying, do something really hard. And in the moment, does it feel good? No, but they believed from his message that would help us down the road, and they went all out with it. And you saw that go through the entire season.
Ben talked about the poise under pressure in some of these late, one-score games. How did you see the staff sort of foster that throughout the year?
Yeah, I go back to he set it up in the beginning. I mean, we watched some examples across the league of games that were a little out of whack at halftime and even into the third quarter. And we had some guys in the room that have been in those situations and heard from them. How did you handle it? Locker room, your teammates, and poise was really the common message between everybody. Or if it was on the other side, it was a lack of poise. And so it started early. The staff is on the same page with Ben. Like they don't panic. They keep coaching. And they put part of really good coaches, in my experience, is they put you in tough positions in training camp and in practice to see how you handle it, and you get repetitions at it, and it comes alive on game day, which it did.
Ryan, what would be the difference going into an offseason where you are now looking to complete a roster to be a Super Bowl contender versus starting where you've been in the past trying to build the roster? And how will that difference kind of inform decisions that you make?
Yeah, you just have more constraints, but at the same time, I don't think the process changes. You're going to identify the guys that fit what we want in our football team, which Coach hit, and you just keep trying to acquire those players. We know what they look like, we know how they act, they know how they talk, and we'll continue to do that. I think that's part of the thing is, one, can you self-evaluate and be critical of yourself and your team to make sure that you know what you have in the building? And then can you just keep pounding away and sticking to your process? You make tweaks, of course, but stick to the process of bringing in the right types of people, and it usually works out for you. I think when you see it across the league all the time, you panic and you want to do crazy things that everybody else wants you to do. It leads to some situations that you can't get out of. So we want to stay flexible. We want to stay open-minded. We want to stay committed to building this team the right way, because I think that's the best way to sustain success. We're always going to be opportunistic. We're going to go through opportunities that pop up and talk through them. And is this best for us short term? Is it best for us long term? And then we move from there.
You're saying Max Crosby isn't coming.
I don't know.
How would you evaluate the offensive line, specifically the guys you brought in this offseason to be kind of that core and have that veteran leadership?
Yeah, it was cool to see them go through the process. I think one thing with O-line, it's almost like it's choreographed. Like, you got to work together. It's a unique position where that's true. And seeing those guys figure it out early on, and then for that to come together, I think the kind of the pinnacle of that was probably the Philly game, where you could see those guys rolling. And we took their identity that day, and so it was really cool to see. And they're all very different. Joe's quiet, Drew's cerebral, Jonah's the physicality that you get from that group, a little bit more vocal than the rest. You saw Darnell growing because of his experience with those interior threes. So proud of the way that they moved this year, and look forward to them getting back to work and continuing to improve.
How would
With
you evaluate
Darnell,
it?
where did you see the jump with Darnell's growth this year?
Yeah, it was steady through the season. I think that's one thing we've challenged him, is the consistency part. I think there's some ups and downs every once in a while. But when he strings it together, it's really, really good, and it's going to help us win football games. I love watching him come off the ball and move people. And when he has this confidence and belief in himself that he's the best on the field, I think he can be one of the best to do it. He just has to show up and continue to put that work in and get there. So I love his work in the off season and the weight room. I think it started there for him, and then built up. But with those guys and their leadership, it definitely rubbed off on Darnell.
Ryan, how would you evaluate the defense, particularly the pass rush and the run defense?
Yeah. There's a lot going on there, just in terms of we had some injuries going on that you have to overcome. I think that's an area we're going to continue to press and get better. I look forward to Shamar getting back and Dio getting back. I thought Sweat did a good job this year. I think sometimes we get hung up on sacks, and sacks are important. He did get into double digits, but I think his all-around game was good. The way he defended the run, defended the perimeter, as well as applied pressure, was good. But we need him to continue to get better too. So we'll evaluate everything, but that's always O-line, D-line is always going to be a space where we want to get better.
Ryan, how does it feel? Did you get some synergy with draft and development this year? And if so, what was different besides you had different coaches involved?
Yeah, I'll just talk about this year. I mean, drafting and developing, that's the ultimate collaboration between a front office and a coaching staff. You got to have a shared vision of what we're asking those guys to do, and then that commitment to the players got to commit to improving, but also the coaches pouring into them and getting them up to speed, so that they can become pros is important. So that clear vision, clear collaboration between coach and front office, that's something that we got going on, and we'll continue to improve and get better. But yeah, you can see it come to life. You can really see it come to life this year. If it was the way Colson played, to Kyle. I mean, Kyle did a great job this year too. So that's a lot of coaching. Once guys get in the building, and they did a great job.
Ryan, when you win so many games by a close margin, do you look at that as hey, we know how to win, or as our margin is really thin going forward and maybe, you can't be satisfied?
Yeah, well, I'll just start with the last thing you said. I don't think you can be satisfied. I heard the whole cardiac bear thing. I'd rather not be the cardiac bears. But if that's what that game needs, then that's what you need to do. But I do think you got to win close games. When you get down to that 2 minutes, it's important. They repped that a lot, and the guys were prepared for it. Yeah, I don't think you want to be living on the edge all the time, but I think what you can take from this season is that we were able to have poise down the stretch of games and be poised to finish, and guys made plays when they needed to be made. I don't think that's a characteristic that you should ever shy away from.
What was your point of view on the touchdown at the end of regulation?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was a ridiculous throw, and that's, I mean, credit to him and his genetics and his arm and his ability to create and pocket awareness. And I think this year I realized how athletic he is. Like, I knew he was a good athlete. He's a little awkward in his movements, but like it's unique in the way that he can get out of things and move his body. So, yeah, he'll continue to get better and lean into the traits that he has.
Ryan,
You
say
evaluate your draft class, is there a trait that stands out that was a common theme through everybody there? Because there's an argument that this was probably the best draft class you've had with so many guys hitting and so many guys that show potential that didn't get to play this season.
They all love football. His passion for the game. That's one of our criteria that we have on this kind of gear to make it tick. They love football. It only takes a few minutes being around Colston Loveland to know that he is so passionate about it. He wants to be great. He wants to be great for his teammates. He loves ball. They all love ball, and that's a key thing. We'll continue to lean into that.
Zay's situation was kind of unique. What did he do this season, and is he, whatever he was dealing with, is he past it now where you anticipate he'll be able to contribute next year?
Yeah, so I had a good conversation with him. He's back. He'll be back, going in this offseason like everybody else. He feels like he's in a really good place to develop and move forward. Definitely a setback. He's got a mountain to climb just for missing so much ball he needed to play. So that'll be up to him to be able to get himself in the right position to compete for a roster spot.
Right. With DJ, made some of the biggest touchdowns this team's ever seen. Also, not the numbers that he put up a couple of years ago. What's kind of your overall perspective on his fit this year and then moving forward?
Yeah, I'll use his words. He didn't care about stats. All he cared about winning. It's the most winning DJ's ever had, probably since high school. That's all he cares about. In terms of roster, like I said, we got a lot of decisions to make and figuring that out. I think what stood out about DJ this year is the level of toughness rubbed off on our team. Guys, if they were dinged up, like they almost had to go because DJ was going. He was able to fight through a lot. Got a lot of respect for him.
Thank you.